treachery.
Target. I'm out of range. Not there yet. Not there yet.
Arise, my champion.
At your side, lady. back of a Wind Rider. Go for it. sir. That it's too far.
Appreciated. the more it spreads the message that the world is watching and that the world cares about the outcome of this case. Around in the lore, we've talked a lot about the charges. You know, right now in the Western District, there's 2 charges of obstruction of business and 2 charges of the Minor Crimes Act. There may be more added to that, but at this point, that's what we have. In the Eastern District, the case has not started yet, the Eastern District of Seoul. The case has not started yet, but we know for sure we've got at least one deepfake case in the pipeline coming down against Johnny Somali. So that's a good amount. We've talked about those charges. Deepfakes are considered very serious in Korea. And now I know some people in the comments have said, well, I'm not sure I agree with the Korean law XYZ. Well, you may not necessarily agree with a foreign law or the way they do things, but that is indeed the way they do things. And if you're in that country, you need to abide by the country's laws. That's just as simple as that for visiting or living in a country. And that's one of the underlying problems with Ramzi Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, and other nuisance streamers, is they often disrespect and disregard their laws. And as we're going to see today, they completely don't respect, and Ramzi doesn't respect their system at all. He thinks it's a joke. This is insane. Even after his trial, even after he took such an L, he's sitting here trying to dunk on the court, trying to dunk on the system, and trying to think he's going to get away with everything, which is crazy. But we're gonna watch that today and talk about that today. Torga the White says, hi ho, to the cabbage mines he goes. Indeed. Ryobi said this would be awesome coverage since practically in one day one since Ramzi arrived. By the way, wouldn't it be better, not really, if Ramzi just copes and seethes in a certain black screen? Yeah, I mean, he's definitely lashing out now, but the difference is he's actually streaming. So let's be clear. The reason why I'm doing this stream today is because he is, number one, I have some updates and some information, some answers to questions. But the biggest news today is that he's returned to streaming. We had months from December to now where he was not streaming. So we didn't have any new footage. We didn't have new incidents. We are now going to have new footage and new incidents coming out, potentially new crimes that he commits. Because as we'll talk about today, it seems that this week he may actually leave Hank's apartment for something other than court, and he may actually get back to IRL streaming. He may actually go out in the wild and start IRL streaming again. This is not a joke. This is not anything else. He said as much on his stream today. Now, I don't normally believe that, but he's been telling everybody behind the scenes. He's been talking to everybody about doing this. And because we have his video from weeks ago, his first video coming back was targeting the streamers coming to Korea eventually. And now we know that those streamers are going to be in Korea for a lot longer than they thought. They're not just going to stop over in Seoul. They're going to do a trip from Busan from Busan to Seoul. We thought, excuse me, I misspoke. Originally, we thought that the streamers from Japan, the big group headed by Ice Poseidon with many, many streamers there, was just going to go to Busan and right back to Japan. So they were just going to come here for the sole purpose of renewing their visa and go right back to Japan. It appears that is not the game plan anymore. It appears the game plan is to kind of finish it out or stay here in Korea, and then maybe some of them will go back, maybe not. So Johnny Somali is delighted about this because he has been looking for a way to confront them, and this gives him a golden opportunity to confront these people that he views as turning their back on him. Even though, to a certain extent, some of them still support and help him. Some of them say they hate him, but some of them are actually enabling the behavior. So we'll talk about that today. Colin M. for 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you much. Then Sebastian Mueller for another 20. Oh, love it, love it, love it. We all know Ramzi sees 20 and 20, and it's...
You are coping and seething.
Big coat from Ramzi today. Thank you for that, guys. Giraltina Origins, I've been following this through Rev Says Desu. Yeah, Rev's great content. I'm glad he's been following this. He looked at my tweets as a source, which is good. And yeah, glad things are good back in the USA. Glad to hear that. I will probably be there in June or July, but it depends on this trial because we'll see what the dates on this trial play out. Czech Black 97 for 10 Polish zlote. Greetings from Poland, friend. Godspeed, Cześć over there, Cześć, or Szczęść Boże, which is my other favorite greeting, my other favorite Polish greeting. Do we have a little lag here? Ooh, I hope we don't have too much lag. Okay. So, no, it's all right. I just closed this one window. I think it should be all right. Okay, cool. So, got that. Let's see. Elsie Cherry said, don't just farm the cabbage, RKI. Embrace the cabbage. Become one with the cabbage. He swears, and we'll get to this clip today, that he will not spend a day in jail. Well, I have news for you, Ramsey. It won't be days. It'll be more than days. Thai Coffee for 10, thank you so much. Don Hamilton for £9.99 says, enjoy your coverage of the Cabbage Patch Kid. There will be no more hanky-panky with Hank, but definitely with his cell buddies. Okay, so you know what? Before we get into it anywhere else, before we go off of rails here, let's start with coverage of Hank. So I'll read all the rest of them here. I will get these memberships real quick. 5 from Big Buddhist and 5 from Piotr Suvala. Big Buddhist, Piotr, thank you. You guys are great supporters on the channel. Appreciate it. Appreciate that love. Thank you. Okay, let's get to Hank. So let's do who is Hank? So the number one question I got in the comments was actually, who the hell is this Hank guy? Because he's referenced all the time, and most people have no clue who Hank is. They are hearing about him because he comes up time and time again, but they have no idea who Hank is and what his involvement is. So I'm going to give you guys a little quick brief on Hank, just a tiny little brief, because we already did this as a whole stream, but as part of Hank's kind of litigious past, he likes to sue everybody, literally everybody. So Hank is the guy on the left. His real name is Han Jong-yu. He is known as the Asian Nazi. That's his kind of tag name. He was self-described ultra-nationalist in the United States, despite being a Korean citizen. So he is a Korean citizen. Now, a lot of people say he's quote-unquote not Korean. He does appear to have some family of like Chinese background or Chinese descent, but he does have a Korean passport, right? I mean, so however you want to feel about that, he's a citizen of South Korea, regardless of, some Koreans are disowning him as Korean. And he is the top ally of Johnny Somali. He has been helping him at every single corner here, and he is now, it's confirmed in court that Johnny Somali is sleeping in the same room, in the same house, under the same bed, likely, because it's a small apartment, as Johnny Somali. And Johnny is streaming clearly from his apartment. He's said as much. He's admitted as much. In the court, the address he gave was Hank's address. So it's in Jamshil. And once again, I'm not going to dox anything here, but I was in the court. They said the address. It was clearly Hank's address. So they're together. And in terms of who he is a convicted felon in the United States for under 8 counts of the Gun Control Act, 7 counts of making a false statement to a federally licensed gun dealer, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. So the problem with Hank was he ended up saying he was a citizen of the United States, but he was just a permanent resident, or a resident of the United States. So because of that, and because of lying on the form, he got in trouble. He has spent probably his family has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get him out of trouble. Because one important thing about Hank is he is extremely wealthy. Not him, his family. He hasn't ever worked a day in his life. But his family is what they call in Korea silver spoon. His mother is a very influential artist here, very rich artist. And his granddaddy was a prosecutor, was one of the big prosecutors in South Korea. So likely the attribution of that, I know the laws because Grandpappy was a lawyer. He is not a lawyer. He is not an interpreter. Everybody who was in there, we had official interpreter. We have Koreans that were with us. They all said his Korean is very bad. It's not good, right? So he could not do that. He kind of in the court was acting like he was going to be his interpreter, but they had an official interpreter who's a professional and speaks perfect English, so there were no issues there. But the big thing with Hank is he has been very litigious. He has sued everybody here. So if you even look at him, if he even has You blink at him, he sues you. He sued actually me, apparently, although I haven't gotten the lawsuit. So, technically, until I received like a copy of it, it doesn't exist, right? If they don't serve you with something, it doesn't exist. So I haven't been served, but I've been told by people that he tried to include me in a lawsuit, what I would call a lol suit, because it's a joke, saying that our coverage defamed him. But all of my statements and everything I've taken, and you can look in my previous streams and everything else, is taken from his own statements and things he has said, including statements about his certain predilections for his romantic partners. And I'm not going to go into that in this stream. That's a whole other rabbit hole. But let's just say he literally went on a public podcast, a YouTube podcast called the K-Town Podcast. And he publicly advertised services for men, for money, while in Korea. So, and expressed an interest in femboys as well. That was his words, not mine. And he had to explain to the podcast what they were. Once again, I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm not insinuating. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're doing this. What's with this?" No, it's his words. So that's Hank. That's who he is. That's him in a nutshell. If you have any questions, go back, look at my channel on the Hank U lol suit or Who is Hank. I've got other videos on that, so you can go back and do that. I did just create a Somali playlist, so if you want to go back and get history on these people, it's all there. A lot of other channels, they skim the surface, but here on The Legal Mindset, we go deep. We go deep. Van Nugans has been watching all your coverage on Ramsey, on RK. Let's keep the future cabbage farmer coping and seething. Oh, he's seething hard. The other thing is he's now watching all my streams, which is the sincerest form of flattery, because right now there are dozens of content creators, including big ones, bigger than me. For example, I met up with Atozi. Shout out to him. He's a great dude. Probably meet up with him later tonight. His channel's way bigger than mine, and there's a lot of other huge channels, million-person channels. I saw Abba and Preach covering this. Nux covered this. Asman covered this, right? But the reason why Johnny is so triggered by me is particularly because I have access to the deep information and the real information about him, and he has to try to discredit me in order to try to make that information seem false. But all the information that I'm pulling, particularly about the case itself, is from the case file. So if I tell you this was filed today, it actually was filed today because I'm looking at the file, right? So that's why a lot of people ask, why is he so angry at you specifically? That's why. So yeah. And it's even, like I said, someone said in the chat, it's even more up to date than his lawyer. Yes, because once again, he has a public defender. So in the way it works is they assign lawyers. So he went out and was assigned this lawyer. I actually had a friend who tried to call this lawyer to see what their rates were, and they didn't even pick up the phone. So that kind of shows you the level of care there. Okay, so let's get a couple of these comments, and then we'll go on to the next one. I think I've answered the Who is Hank question. Immature request. Make a big deal out of the fact that you can leave Korea and come back. Just leave again because you aren't hated everyone. Well, no, I haven't committed any crimes here. So once again, if you don't commit a crime in Korea, you're fine. And even if you do commit crimes, here's the thing, Silbury. Most people, foreigners who commit a crime here, let's say you urinated in public and you were going to get hit with something for that. If you just left, they usually don't detain you. So there's actually cases, even sometimes serious cases, where they don't keep you in the country. They specifically travel banned Ramsey, which makes it absolutely horrible. And we see this, for example, in the Japan cases. A lot of the guys who are in Japan who are being investigated for crimes just left before they could be actually hit with a crime. And in fact, when the police accepted, for example, one of the nuisance streamers, DBR, in Japan, when they were about to get him with a criminal charge, he left, right? And it wasn't fast enough. So oftentimes the system, the criminal justice system, is too slow to deal with these type of streamers because they're operating in kind of a fast environment. They come in for a week and they go before any charges can be filed. So that's what you have to fight here, and that's why there need to be different tools to fight this, because it is a problem and a plague, and it creates a bad environment here for the folks that live here. It harms relationships between countries, and frankly, it's just harmful to people and their businesses and their livelihoods. Lux Rion for 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Kerbal says, Johnny's salty kimchi merch win. Okay, I'm actually working on merch. I'm trying to get a little bit of help. If anybody has like really deep experience with merch, let me know. Hit me up, send me an email. But yeah, we're working on it. Karl-Heinz Grabowski says, Grüß Gott. Every day, new crazy stuff appears. Johnny Somali really aims for a high score in prison sentence. Indeed. Indeed. Zola Kluk says, being Australian, I'm glad he went to South Korea instead of here because our legal system is such a joke. Glad some sense is being knocked into him. I'm going to say this because a lot of people are making comments on different countries' legal systems. All countries are different, and that's based on your policy towards criminality and your belief in whether they need to be, punished or rehabilitated, whether prison is a good or bad thing net for folks, whether people's nature is immutably criminal or whether it can be, changed. Those are deep fundamental questions that cultures and peoples and politics can answer differently. No system is perfect. The United States isn't perfect. Korea is not perfect. Japan's not perfect. But what you can do is try to get the best justice you can get in that system. So what my goal is here in Korea and for most of the people here is to do the best we can do under the existing Korean system. We're not trying to change the system. We're just trying to get the most out of this system that we can because this is a situation where justice is needed. Reverend Norse said, Barney politics, is it possible that Johnny Somali is going to get any help during the trials from the USA, or is he going to hang out to dry in the South Korean sun? Why would they help him like that? This is a misnomer. A lot of people, this was like kind of a third question people dropped. They said, is he going to get a pardon or something from, like, is he going to get extradited by, or brought out? No, that's not going to happen. He's not big enough. This isn't a case where this is a political issue. Johnny Somali is in here for being an idiot. Right? He's not in here for his politics. He's not here for being conservative or liberal or anything. Johnny's politics are all fake. They're all an act. They're all to get attention, right? They're all to try to garner attention from people. He doesn't genuinely believe anything. He will say and do anything to get attention. That is one thing that is very much true. Willie Pearl says, hi, Andrew. Well, RK, I have to pay U.S. taxes in jail? Yes. Even when you're in jail in Korea, you still have to file taxes. Now, he might not be making any money, so he might not owe them, but you have to file them. You do have to file them. Wondertut for 10 euros says, I looked through my add-ons for YouTube and looked like BTTV and 7TV works for YouTube. Would that be something you want to enable? It's a giant emote data bank with a live chat. It's widespread on Twitch. I'll look into it. I'll look into it. Thank you very much. I'm always looking to improve my layout. Tuzret says, I came in late. What happened to your voice? Drinking. Soju and Jaeger bombs. Happened to my soju, Jaeger bombs, and hanging out till 5 a.m. with a tozy. It was fun. It was fun. Good time. Just a Dank Raven says, good morning, sir. So I'll be lurking in the stream. Yeah, lurk away. Chahoy Neko says, 1 year of watching Legal. Hey, congrats. Happy anniversary. Let's see. Angry Drunk Bumblebee says, RKI, never, ever drop the cabbage. Remember to never, ever drop the cabbage. There you go. Mr. Alex789 says, just my opinion, I think Johnny would be better off in a mental ward or asylum. He'll find out the hard way when he picks on the wrong people, so I'm surprised he's still alive. Well, it's when you get there. You really, really, really got to watch out. I'll get some members and a couple more, and then we'll continue. Talented X, welcome as a member. Appreciate that. And Auburn, the Danger Kobold, thank you for the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Reverend Norse says for 100, with all the infamy of this case, is Hank's family backing Hank in support of Johnny? Would they not try and cut connection or even cut off Hank's cash flow? Don't these families care about image a lot? I think the Western media has picked up a lot about Hank, and the Korean media is slowly learning more about Hank. And I think especially after Hank showed up at the trial, I think that pressure on
Spread across this barren land. Soon, the scourge lay them rule the world from the scourge. Are you here for training, or are you just here to waste a warrior's time? Go with honor. Feralas is an ideal location for an accomplished adventurer to prove himself. A tribe of ogres called the Gorduni are the dominant military force there, and their numbers are growing. They must be stopped before they threaten our presence in Feralas. A warrior I know of named Rock Orhan resides at Camp Mojach in Feralas. Go to her. She will tell you more of the situation when you arrive. A warrior of the Horde, Regthar Deathgate, is recruiting agents for a mission into the land of Desolace. Speak with him if you wish to volunteer. He is stationed in the Barrens, in a series of bunkers west of the crossroads, and sharpen your weapons. Desolace is a place torn by war.